I'm Roniel.
I'm DaRon.
Man, this is going to be a great week, man. We basically have Spider-Man coming out. Hawkeye is the new episode of Hawkeye is on Disney Plus right now. So if you guys haven't, I haven't watched it yet. So definitely check it out. So this is going to be very interesting. I cannot wait. I am like literally shaking in my boots, and I don't have on boots, by the way, but yeah, I'm shaking in them because I cannot wait. Now, one thing I have to say, Duran, is there's this guy named Chris that I was telling you about that believes that the Japanese Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man in the universe. And I was like, he's got to be full of shit. Like, I'm not trying to say anything about it, but have you actually seen Japanese Spider-Man?
Yes.
It's horrible.
Yes.
And everything has to do with robots. So I told him if he comes in with a Japanese Spider-Man suit, he better bring a gun on him because I'm gonna kick his ass. For Spider-Man, we're all gonna be at the Spider-Man movie thing on Saturday and preview or whatever. And I'm just like, you better not come in there because nobody agrees with that. And yeah, it's crazy. And if you guys hear my voice, it sounds all muffled because I've been, under the weather, but it has nothing to do with COVID. Just because you have something, something, or you got some sneezes or sniffles doesn't mean you have COVID. There is a such thing as common cold, right? I mean, did we forget about that? Did we not? Do we not remember that there is the flu and the common cold?
That actually was one of the nice things about masking. I think I've mentioned before, but in actually most of Southeast Asia, it's expected if you are sick in any way, shape, or form, or you think you're sick in any way, shape, or form, to wear a mask for out of politeness to everyone around. And it's mostly so you don't spit on them and all that other kind of stuff. But that actually really does help decrease instances of the flu and the cold around there. The other big thing, and this is actually the biggest thing that those masks really do, is they keep them from touching their nose and mouth and then touching things, because that of course is one of the easiest, most common ways of transferring a lot of uh, things like rhinovirus, and which is one of the major common cold families, or the COVID family, coronavirus family, which is another group.
But the other thing it help is just doing is everybody now that are wearing masks, they got ski masks now. So you don't know who's a robber, who's not, and
I've
everybody
heard
loves
that.
it. So it's just crazy. I mean, I've heard people say, "Oh, I get to wear it." Remember, it used to be like you could not wear a ski mask or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, hey, everybody got these masks and people are making money off of it. And they're cool. They got the little ninja mask and all of that shit. And I'm like, it's cool and all that. But it's just still doing a little too much. You don't have to take it that far. And then you got people that got the little referee soccer mask and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
it looks like they just stepped out of Star Wars. I literally, when I see people come in with that, I was like, have you been on the Star Wars? Were you on there? Were you on that movie? Man, where's your saber?
Got my face shield.
You wish your lightsaber. Like, come on, man.
They're gonna
But
start walking around.
man, yes, I am your father. Like and they have them in all different colors. It is insane. I mean, people who took this to the extreme. I'm not saying it's not an extreme thing, but like I said, if you sneeze or even cough, somebody thinks you got something. And they forget that there is a such thing as common cold.
Yes. There is a common cold. Um, there's stuff like asthma too. Like
And
sometimes,
allergies.
yeah, that's exactly right. And sometimes you just have to cough, or you're choking. That's the worst one. You walk into a room or a building and you just start choking just a little bit because you've been drinking water or what have you. Just that little bit. That's right.
If you haven't already, please get you some purified water. This is from Nestle Purified Life. This is one of my actual favorites. And no, they're not sponsoring us. Nobody sponsors water, but you're gonna need to get you some nice water so you don't end up like DaRon and you're struggling to talk.
That's
Okay,
right. That's right.
hydrate your life. Wealth is health.
See, it's so true. But anyway, so I was curious. As you know, I do a lot of work actually for a lot of different governments, for a lot of different entities all around the world. I've noticed recently there seems to be a big trend for people trying to glorify what I know as the poor schmucks who have to read logs all day as their job, and what have been given the grandiose title of threat hunters. And I'd like to see if we can't have a quick discussion about
Did you say hunter?
hunter. Huntars. They're threat huntars. It's like a centaur, just, the top half
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I was like, what? That's a cooler name
Wouldn't
than
it?
what they are given.
I know. I'm a threat hunter.
Yeah. No, I understand. Um, so as you know, I used to work quote unquote as that was like a portion of my job is threat hunting. And the thing was to assume breach.
Yeah,
And
I hate that.
basically, yeah, that was every day for at least an hour we were made or we were supposed to spend an hour looking through logs, assuming that there was a breach to protect from, the, China hacking and, APT, those big threats, those marketing terms that you think are realistic, but not as realistic as they say or seem. And to be honest with you, for an hour, it's boring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're like, and if most people use Splunk, they use Q Radar, if that's even still around. These different sims that they use,
Right.
and Alien Vault. I don't even like Alien Vault. Sorry, no joke, but they're kind of like mediocre. But Splunk was pretty much everybody's go-to, right? And don't get me wrong, it's a nice UI, but it is so boring. Like you get so bored that you start creating a massive amount of policies just to find everything. So I had created so many policies so I wouldn't have to spend all my time looking in the logs, which is something you probably would want to do anyway. So that way you don't have to look through logs. You can kind of key in on things that are going on, like this log4j thing. As a defensive person, you could literally create some type of policy or law, something or alerts to alert you if you see something, and then you can kind of go hunt it down as it goes. But to spend hours in logs, I mean, that's why I can't see now. You're spending hours in a white screen and you have 3 monitors looking through log. I mean, I had one log, I had a logger thing here, I was monitoring other things there, and then as a security engineer from an infrastructure point of view, you're monitoring a lot of things nowadays. It's not like it's more of an administrative thing. You could be doing, not only threat hunting, but you might be dealing with asset management, access management, identity management. You could be managing different servers if you even own them, making sure data is traveling back and forth securely, looking at firewall logs, only read only, stuff like that. You might be even doing some DevOps things. So a lot of it is kind of a mixture of everything, maybe some network administration on days. So, as a security engineer, it's a little bit different from an infrastructure side, but you have some people that are just threat hunting alone, like they do threat management. And that's pretty much all you're doing is looking at log. And it is so boring. And I don't see it being as lucrative either.
No. It's SOC, and nothing in the SOC pays well. Nothing, not a damn thing. Because the SOC is really composed of 2 things: people who read logs. Sometimes firewall admins are thrown in there too, but people who read logs and then your incident response. Not your digital forensics, they're not part of the SOC typically, because digital forensics is, there aren't enough of them, and just the way the whole SOC 1, 2, and 3 works, it typically isn't included.
But that's what threat hunters want to be. That's what they wish to be.
That
Digital
is.
forensics. That's
Yes.
the work, and I'd love you to get into that. But that's the work that you really want to do. And when I think of that, you would think that you are. And I did incident response, so as a threat hunter as well, I did threat hunting. And then when there was an incident, I had to I quote, I was the only one with the skill set to do so. And not only did I do some forensics, because I had the skill set to do so, it wasn't highly like you would do, but it was like if we had an attack or a breach, I would go through and check and see how they got in,
Right.
and then see how to stop it. And then they would give me hard drives and everything, and I would have to use similar tools. But not everybody who's a threat hunter has that, ability or skill set. So again, threat hunters wish to be an incident response people, wish to be digital forensics people.
They do. And what I've noticed is there seems to be a disturbing trend. First of all, there's a huge burnout in these threat hunters.
Oh yeah.
And part of it is because the poor pay, part of it is the terrible hours, part of it is they're staring at a screen all day and they're not interacting. So at least programmers get to interact. At least penetration testers are interacting. Your threat hunters are literally just read. That is it. Oh yeah, sure, they get to sit there and add in a policy here or a policy there. Although in a modern SOC environment that is very well regulated for change management and configuration control purposes, because you don't want someone whacking a policy or modifying a policy so that it doesn't find things anymore. And a lot of those policies are heavy regular expressions. So depending on what it is you're doing, you may or may not entrust it to most of your threat hunters. But it's a field with a huge amount of turnover. And the other major component is it's supposed to be a very short-term entry-level position. But a lot of places now are like, well, we need to retain talent. But if you stay in the threat hunting field, your capabilities are going to be so stymied it's not funny. You will become so stagnant it's not funny. Sure, you get to see neat things when you notice them, but most of the attacks you will never see and you won't notice because you don't know the application, you don't know the system, you don't understand what is a positive and a negative response. A 400 error may be a negative response to you, but it may be an actual attack. A 200 can be an actual attack. Plenty of attacks result in a 200 okay. In fact, usually if it's a 500, that means they goofed or they're trying to hone it so that it comes back as a 200. Not always. It depends on what obviously the vulnerability is. But I don't know why people started actually. I do. It's because they were being cheap. And this is the truth. When I first started out, every system administrator, every application administrator, every database administrator, the thing that they had to do every morning was read their logs. Every morning they read their logs. And then they were supposed to read their logs throughout the day periodically just to make sure nothing was going on. They were supposed to have alerts on their system. We had IDSs, IPSs. We had network-based and host-based IDSs and IPSs. All of that good stuff. Plus, of course, you had all the firewalls. So you were getting a lot of data coming in. But the logic behind that, and this is actually accurate, is who knows the system better than the system administrator, the developers, if it's custom software, things of that nature? And the answer is no one. No one does.
No, yeah, that is true. Nobody really understands, but here's became the problem, especially in my situation, as I started seeing in other areas, is that you had to become somebody as a threat hunter in there. That's the person that knows it better than the developer and the system admin, which is a burnout because you not only do you have to read the logs, but you have to do other things as well that they should be doing.
Right.
And security kept getting, in general, all of the work that everybody else was doing. And you might as well just call yourself a system administrator.
Right.
Because that's what I felt like I did. I didn't, not only did I do security stuff, now I did, do things with the IDS systems and the IPS systems and stuff like that. And, do, add signatures and stuff like that for them when I seen it. But again, that's a particular skill set you need to have. But from a threat hunter perspective, that's all you do. You don't build any other skill set besides that.
Yes.
You're doing that all day, and you're taking away just a portion of what a system administrator do. But that's all you're doing. So let's to get more in tune. What I think of a threat hunter today is something that they try to do a coin a term fancy, but it's really just threat hunting. They might
Yes.
not look at logs, maybe, but this whole security researcher thing, that
Yes.
is literally the same shit. At least, I guess, if you're going to be a threat hunter in a SOC, you're getting paid more as a security researcher than a SOC person. And it's ridiculous. They're literally doing some of the same similar shit. And really, if you really think about it, they're putting malware analysis in with threat hunting,
Yeah.
which they're calling threat intelligence and everything else. But it's the same thing. So I don't see the purpose of why you're paying people when there's already fields they're doing it, and you kind of mix two together. That's not research.
I agree. And it begs the question, well, why do you need to do malware analysis? Unless you're doing digital forensics, they're really, or if you're doing some nation state stuff or your organized crime.
That's not research. So,
No.
and like you said, people that are in threat hunting or security research want to be digital forensic people. They make up these
Yes.
fancy terms. They want to feel like they're doing things when they're not. And
Yes.
forensics, which is what I wanted to get into, is where you see all of those different, analysis or different things, and you're doing it for a purpose. In this particular thing, and that's malware. And you can tell me what you think, but I think the whole malware analysis came from antivirus companies and the
Right.
threat hunting as well, because you have people looking and dissecting it so they can create signatures.
See, and that's the ridiculous part though, because it shouldn't be your job. That's the
Right.
malware, the anti-malware vendor's job. And the same actually should be true with most of the signatures that you see. Most of the signatures, I'll tell you, the biggest problem we have within our industry is all of the automated tools employ nothing more than blacklists. And we've gone over
Yep.
this before. Blacklists don't work. They don't work for anti-malware. We saw that in our malware
No.
analysis
Yeah. Examining
video.
malware. Yep.
Right. We saw that there. There was nothing sophisticated. There was nothing really. It should have easily been caught, but they key in on ridiculous things that make no sense, and you see the same exact thing. So this stupid thing with Log4j. I don't know if you noticed, but $ curly bracket something in it curly bracket. That's used by Apache almost everywhere. It's used by Apache struts for OGNL, which, by the way, is how they had the OGNL injection, which is a insecure deserialization remote code execution kind of deal. That's how they had this. That's how they've had a lot of their attacks across most of their platforms, because for an Apache product in general, if you're going to supply a formatted string that it's going to parse, it's going to expect curly brackets, and it's going to expect usually a $ in front of it. So that's a signature that should have caught stuff forever and a day. There's no reason why that should be hitting anyone these days, because you already should have had a signature that detects $ curly bracket, stuff in it, curly bracket, period. But they don't do
No.
that because that's the obvious logical signature, and they don't do that. None of the vendors do that. Why? I don't know. It
A,
makes no sense.
a lot of them don't. This goes back to what I always say: when dealing with some of these people, they don't know what they're doing. A lot of them don't. They don't really understand it. And when you talk about malware analysis, you don't understand what's going on. And even some of them are not even developers.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be that to be able to dissect things, but you need that knowledge.
Yeah.
But if you have that knowledge, you can understand. And then when you're dissecting the malware, you know what to key in on. When I was doing threat hunting, the reason why I was so good at it was because I had a background and everything. That's why they put me on it. And I set up what they probably still use today, because I knew what to key in on. And I keyed on like you said, if I seen and this is something I know that's being used, that's what I'm keying in
Mhm.
on. So that way it grabs everything. And then I can kind of dissect what's not, what's garbage, what is, and whatever. But I'm keying on those words, and we're using regex to do that anyway. So I mean, and even and see, I went even farther to the point where I wrote, because the company didn't want to pay for the software. I wrote the software to detect certain things. Like I said, when I was there, we were great. We had some top. I'm not trying to say it like we were the best, but we literally had some top of the line people, and I mean, or top of the line stuff. Because I say that because there was only in our on our team there was only three people in the security team, three people doing everything. Can you imagine how overwhelming that is?
It's
And
unfortunately common. That aids
yeah,
to the burnout. They always are grossly understaffed.
and then we had to do all of that. Now we did outsource to a company for 24/7, but you know me, I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
You kind of had me from the time I was there all the way into the morning time, and then whoever comes in, you had them looking in, so they cover in that time. So you always had 24/7 eyes on glass, if you want to say that. But even the guys we were working with, we caught things before they did, and we were paying them to do that. And I caught things way before them. But like I said, not everybody knows what they're looking for, which means you have to have a particular skill set. You have to have more than one thing that you can do. But as a threat hunter, even if you have those more skills, that doesn't get more money.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
why do it if somebody has to do it? But that's, to me, I look at that as an entry level start, and then you move on.
So realistically, if you are a threat hunter or anything like that, there are a few things that I would strongly recommend. Number one, realize that is not the place you want to be long term. That has to be a short term engagement. It will hurt your career otherwise because you are not advancing when you are in that position. You may see some things, but you're actually not seeing most things, which again is why your system administrators need to be doing this themselves, why your network administrators need to be doing this themselves, while the database and application administrators, again, all need to be doing these things. And they pushed this up to the SOC, where the SOC just used to be an entity where they would collect up all these reports. Well, to save money and in a power grab by these CIOs and CISOs and stuff, they tried to concentrate all of that into these big monolithic organizations, and it doesn't work as well. So, like I said, recognize that this is a short term thing, and instead, what you need to be doing is trying to work on that offensive game. So I would recommend taking some of the attacks that you are seeing and then seeing how you can, in a sandbox in your home, so in an environment in your home that's safe, disconnected from the internet, that you've made a dummy system just for this, see if you can replay some of these attacks and understand how they work, and then see if you can defend against those same attacks. And if you're looking to come into security, threat hunting is a fine entry point, but a good threat hunter was a system administrator. Actually, a good threat hunter was a system administrator or an application administrator or a network administrator. A bad threat hunter is someone who just came in without any of that. If you don't have that, then it's going to be much harder for you to be of use. But
I look at it as a help desk position.
it is.
If you do information security
Mm-hmm.
analyst, it's almost the same stuff. They don't call it threat hunting, but it's really the same shit. You pretty much are a help desk individual. So I
Yeah.
will look at it from that standpoint and then try to work your way and learn as much as you can. If you can't get in system administration, which I highly encourage, in my opinion, you should have already learned something from help desk, learn something from system administration. If you can get in there, learn some networking, maybe do some network admin after you move from administration, if you would like, and then get into development.
Yes.
Get a software background. There's going to be a lot of people moving around, but if you're in college, you have a lot of opportunity to do internships and test these different fields and get your hands,
Mm-hmm.
dirty so you can understand. But also a good hint in our field today, if you really want to just go deep in the water and just be put in the jungle somewhere, get a security engineering job. Literally, nowadays, these security engineer jobs, you are doing everything.
Yeah.
You kind of will learn, and it's not the greatest, but you'll learn how to do system administration because they'll just hand it to you. You'll learn some network administration. You'll learn some development because you'll be working with developers. And if not infrastructure, you can also get into application security engineering or security engineering in that perspective and learn. Those are the things you might want to get in if you don't have the opportunity to get there, because you will learn a lot of skills from there to be able to move into the other roles.
Yes.
But my biggest thing from here is you cannot tell me that you are the greatest offensive person and that you can do such and such if you can't defend it.
Yes.
You need to know how to defend things before you can know how to, correctly. Once you understand how things work, then you need to know how to defend them.
Yes.
Before you can give somebody a recommendation or understand how to really secure things. You can't say, "Oh, I'm the best hacker in the world," and you don't even know how to defend your own system.
Right. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. So before we do end, I want to hit one other thing you'd said earlier, and that is the concept. What people don't recognize is the jobs and careers that are really fun and are really, the kind of thing everyone wants to do. People don't have to dress up and constantly rename.
Yeah.
It should worry you when people are purposely trying to glorify a field. So threat hunting, for example, incident response, everything honestly to do with the SOC. That usually means it's a field that really, number one, has high burnout, high turnover, which is why they're trying to make it sound attractive so that it brings fresh meat, so to speak, in. And number two, it's not very good. You don't have, it's like, you don't have to brag about who you are or what you do if you're really good, because everyone will recognize it. The martial artists who are really good don't have to sit there and constantly brag about it. Everyone recognizes it. You can see it. You can touch it. You can taste it. You know it just looking at them. We have the exact same thing here. If it's a field that is good, people will know it, and you won't have to constantly rename it.
Well, and I've been to some of those, what you want to call it. I've been to some of those, community meetings and people who are on the defensive side, and the biggest thing has been that we're not so sexy.
Yeah.
When you're on the defensive side, it's always offensive, and I mean, there's nothing sexy about it, and if you want it to be sexier, I mean, what are you going to do to make it sexy? Your job is your job. I mean, everybody's unoffensive because everybody wants to hack things because of Hollywood's thing. Like you see all of this, oh, they hacked this in minutes, and it doesn't happen that way. Everybody wants to be that person to say they did this.
Right.
But you also got to be the guy to understand how to defend it. Like when you're a penetration tester, you're not just the person hacking somebody or finding vulnerabilities. You also have to help them fix it.
Yeah.
So that is not, people got to understand, you're not one of these hackers or black hats or any of these people out there. You would love to think that you are, but you're not one of these people out there doing that and just hacking things and not fixing them.
Especially nice.
That's why it's important. Right.
All they do is read logs. They literally do not hack anything. That is
no, they don't.
That's
they don't even understand. They don't even understand it.
No.
Which is why I say you have to really, if you want to be a good defensive person, you need to be setting up your own systems, learning how to hack them. Go test out the Log4j thing. There's some vulnerable things that they already put out there, a system that you can create or set up on your own, set it up, and then go hack it. And then once you've done that, figure out how to defend against it. Okay, set up your own stuff. Set up your own system. That's the thing about hacking, defensive stuff, all that. You want to set up and play. the more you play, the better you get, the more you understand. That's the beauty of hacking.
That's
The
exactly
beauty
right.
of this field.
That's exactly right. And if you are a threat hunter, definitely take that opportunity, because that's the only way you're going to grow and move out of that position and no longer be stagnant. Until then, there's no growth in that field. There is zero growth in that, in incident response, in help desk. You will
Stop
get pigeonholed.
stop trying to be 007.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to make it sexy. It's okay. It is what it is. Stop trying to make it sexier than what it is.
Yeah.
It's not sexy. Okay, stop giving it OSIN and intelligent gathering or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Intel,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
we've got
threat intelligence.
yes. Well, and
They
so
want to
much
be
of it
like
is
the
bad
military so
military.
bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
they want
you.
to be like the military.
Yes.
Like
Yes. That's exactly what it is. That is exactly where it's coming from. Oh, hey,
so
we're
stop it.
OSINT. We're threat intelligence. You're not
Threat
intel.
threat management.
Yeah.
What are you managing? Are you really managing threats?
Right. The answer is no. You can't manage threats. That's not how that works.
No, you wish you could,
Yes.
but use it as a stepping stone to your next career.
Exactly.
But if you really want to learn something, get a system administration job, a network administration job, learn the systems, learn them in and out, and then you'll start understanding some of these things you're seeing. That is the best advice we can give you. Stop trying to be sexier than you are. I'm sorry, you're not too sexy. All right. But this is our time. I'm Roniel.
I'm DaRon.
And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. And definitely get you guys some water, and definitely stop trying to be too sexy. Okay. Learn from us. All right. Other than that, till the next time.
Have fun.